Hello everyone and welcome back to Brown Coat Reviews. I'm your host Laura and this is my favorite co-host, my husband Scott, and welcome back to Married with Comics. Now, before we get started, I wanted to thank you all so much for the great comments and recommendations in the comment section. We now have more titles added to our list, which is never a bad thing. So thank you Manic23, thank you Kevin, and thank you Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne, I will say we did have a volume collection of She-Hulk, but we did not have the John Burns issue, so oh darn, now we gotta go shopping. Hate it when that happens. Before we get started, I did actually want to answer one of Bruce Wayne's questions, which was why we chose the name Brown Coat Reviews. Take it away, Scott.
Well, so there was a TV series by Joss Whedon a while ago called Firefly. And it basically was taking place in the future, but it kind of had some Western themes going on in it. There was a cultural tie-in to where there were like two great superpowers kind of tying into modern day politics, and they survive and are still going on strong in the future. But the premise of the show was basically, it's a story that's been told before, but it was, Rebel Alliance versus the Empire. So in this, there were people who were revolting against the government entity that was trying to take control and unify everything. And this show is called The Alliance. And they called themselves, or referred to themselves, these rebels, as browncoats. Show off a little piece of art that I got at one of our cons here from a gentleman named Nathan. And I see here you've got brown coat.
And they were the ones that actually fought in the war against the Alliance.
They were. So, that's where the name Brown Coat itself actually comes from. Now, on to the other part of your question, which is...
should you read the comic books first, or should you jump into the TV series?
And again, I highly recommend checking out an episode of the show, Firefly. Definitely. It's on streaming services. There's some digital platform out there that you may already have a subscription to. You should be able to find an episode of it. If you watch the first episode, maybe even the first two, because they kind of did that rearranged thing where the pilot wasn't going to be the pilot. Regardless, if you get 60 minutes of this show and you're not into it, I don't think you'll get into the books, because many of the characters in the books are grounded in that show, and the storylines as well. Now, they go on and they continue and they do some different ones, but the core essence of the characters that made the show what it is are what the books are about. So if you don't get into the show, I don't think you'll get into the books. If you do get into the show and you marathon it, which is probably going to happen thanks to COVID, you will definitely, more than likely, get to the end of it and say, that doesn't make sense. That's because they canceled it like mid-season. So watch the movie Serenity.
Yes.
It ties together some loose ends. If you get to the end of the show and you liked it, and you watch Serenity and you still like it, the comic books will be a no-brainer, because they're very well written.
The couple things about the show, so it's a nice little conglomeration. So it is an action story. It is very, very funny. It's incredibly well written. There's a lot of additional banter, and then there's some great character development. So each episode, you'll have something, funny happening with one of the characters over here. Something will happen over there. And then of course you'll be going to a different world. So then you kind of have all these different elements, and it's just...
And there's kind of the love stories going on in it too. One of the characters on the show, though, one of the main characters on the show, I can't say too much because I don't want to give away too much, but was played by the actress Summer Glau. And if you notice behind me, there's Summer and there's me. Yes. She was at a GalaxyCon event back before everything shut down that we got to go to. So I believe Firefly was her first ever role.
Yeah.
Yeah, before she went on to star in some other stuff like this over here, Sarah Connor Chronicles, Terminator. Yes. And that's another one from the movie I was talking about, Serenity, which kind of ties up the Firefly series with a little bow on it.
And hopefully when COVID is over and we can have Comic-Cons again and get to see other live actors, actresses.
We'll get to the rest of the cast.
Exactly. We will get to this.
That'd be great.
Yes. So we are definitely big fans of the series. There's a lot to enjoy. Our pull list for the week. My titles are actually really, really short. part of that is because my one big variant cover exclusive on its way is not here yet. So that is the Spider-Man, I think it's Spider's Shadow. I'm going to mess up the name. But anyways, I've got a really cool exclusive variant cover that's on its way. I will show it to you next week. It's gorgeous. The other thing I got, so this is actually 2 covers of the same issue. So this is Sandman Lock and Key. I'm a big fan of both series. So I've been waiting very, very impatiently for this to arrive. So this is the A cover. And I was so excited that this was still at my local LCS. So this is the variant cover for the B cover, and I love it. Absolutely love it. I just think it makes the red pop, all the details. I love it. So I will be reading Sandman Lock and Key very soon.
Tonight. When she says soon, it's not as soon as we get done, probably.
Yes.
So I had really only one on my pull list for this week, which is Red Sonja and Superpowers, issue 4. Check that out right there. So if you like Red Sonja, I think you would like this because they take it and do a little twist. It's really a lot of witty writing, a lot of funny parts. I've been sitting, laying in bed, reading it, laughing, chuckling, sharing some stuff with Laura at night. They do something kind of cool where that's like, really advanced forward world meets kind of barbaric world, and the introduction of the 2 kind of spheres to each other alone I read like twice at least because it made me laugh. But the other one is actually just an issue I was missing. So this is Sonja Versal, issue 2. I had 1, I had 3. I'd read 1, kind of reserving judgment on it until I read some more, but I didn't want to jump to 3. So luckily, I don't know how I missed it, but the guys down at Ultimate Comics in Raleigh had that one sent over from the other store, and I'll be diving into that one probably tonight while you're reading Lock and Key.
Yes.
Then on our Us pile, so this week we had Daredevil issue number 29. Yes. Check out Elektra as Daredevil there. It's a gorgeous cover. Really liking that. We're behind on the reading of this series, but Daredevil itself is one that it doesn't matter where I'm at, what I'm doing, what else I'm reading. As soon as I open this up, I get lost in it. I know. I've been that way with Daredevil pretty much from the beginning, so I can't wait.
Yeah.
Batman Detective. This is another new series that I saw and had read a few good, interesting little blurbs about and wanted to start. I really like this cover. You can see Big Ben there in the background, but have not started this one yet. This is issue 1 of 6.
And this is Thor issue number 14. So this is the Donny Cates series. I finally bit the bullet and I was like, everyone keeps talking about this series. So grabbed it, flew through the first 12 issues, and then was caught up enough to start getting through the rest. I think that's the only challenging part of this series is that each one ends with a bit of a cliffhanger. So
and now we have to wait like everybody else.
Exactly. Waiting stinks, but this is the finale to the Prey series, so you have kind of these individual runs within the runs, so this has been a really, really good one, so I'm going to be reading it tomorrow after Lock and Key. Joker number 2. So we got the variant cover with Punchline on it, and I think that's just gorgeous and really, really cool. Joker number 1, I read it, I loved it. I can't wait to see what James Tynion IV does with the rest of the series. Most of you have been told, at least at some point, that this is more of a Commissioner Gordon story of him hunting down the Joker instead of it being a Joker-only story. So I can't wait to see where we head in issue number 2.
So last, this is going to be some virgin territory for Laura and I. Actually, somebody had made a comment or suggestion as well about this, though, that perhaps we should try anime or manga. So we're diving in. The reason we're diving in with what this particular thing, though, is the owners at the Ultimate Comics in Raleigh had this person come by. We still have yet to determine if she's a actual local artist or she was traveling through, but either way, she's an independent. She's self-publishing. She's incredibly talented. It was enough, she was impressive enough that they bought several copies of this to sell in the store. And he had bought one himself, Dan, and was just showing us the interiors to kind of, it wasn't really our go-to, but he wanted us to see it. Because of that, though, we asked Casey, who's like the manga expert, by the way. If you don't have one at your local shop and you're in the Raleigh area, head down. She will answer questions, talk to you, and yes, you can dive in the deep end if you want, or dip your toe in like we did. But she was very impressed with, apparently this artist entered a competition that until this past year had been only open to artists in Japan. They opened it up to international artists. She submitted artwork. You have to meet certain standards to even be considered. But enough of my jabbering. Let's look at it. So this is called Fist of Firenze. I mean, hello, gorgeous, right?
And this series, from what we can gather from the interior, because obviously we haven't read it, it takes place in a Renaissance Venice.
Yes. And I will say this, looking at some of the interiors and talking to Casey, this one, as you can tell, is actually labeled as the pilot. Apparently or I should say, the manga readers here in the States are a little spoiled because we typically get them, they're not called trades, they have their own word for them, but they're larger collections of multiple issues in a volume. And in Japan, they come out like weekly. And this is kind of a bit of an odd format from what Casey was saying for U.S. readers, unless you're doing online where you can get them weekly there in a digital format. But we do know that this artist is working on putting together a larger issue. She also has her contact info in here. So, spoiler alert.
Hopefully I can get in touch with her and either get an interview or just get some more additional insight into the series and what is coming with it. So that way we have some additional insight beyond our lack of knowledge of manga and what Casey's sort of been filling in for us. So we are going to give it a try.
It'd be really cool. It's a female artist. Like I said, she's independent. That's why we bought it, because we love supporting independent. We love supporting local. We love supporting people that are taking the dare and following their dream.
Yes.
And I mean, if you got that kind of talent, I am all about supporting you and your pocketbook and whatever it needs to be done to get you to the next level, because everybody started somewhere.
Yes. So we're going to give it a try. Really quick before we conclude, I just wanted to say, obviously during our next video, we're going to try and answer some of your questions at the beginning of the video before we get into our pull list. So if there's a question that you have for one of us or both of us, put it down in the comments and we will do our best to either answer it there or in a different video. So Kevin, I know you gave us some great comments and some recommendations of titles that you were reading or some of your favorite guilty pleasures. And just letting you know that, yes, we do have a video coming with some of Scott's guilty pleasures. So please make sure to tune in because you won't want to miss that one. Let us know down in the comments.
Yeah, keep the comments and the questions coming and the suggestions as well. We read them, we listen to them, and we'll be looking for more of them to come.
Definitely. And we will see you all again very soon.